What do you need to get TRC based on work in Poland? There are two types of documents in your process. Formal requirements from which we're going to start will be: you need copy of your passport with all stamps, pages, with visas, etc. If you have an empty page, you can just skip it, don't make a copy, don't waste paper, no point. Additionally, you need photos. Photos, okay, it varies. In one city, they will need 2 photos. In some cities, they will need 4. No city wants more than 4 pictures, meaning if you bring 4, no matter where you are safe to go. You need to also cover the administrative payment. For work-based residency, this fee is different than for others. Normally, you'd pay 340. For Work TRC, the price is 440 PLN. A formal requirement for Work TRC, as well as Blue Card or TRC based on business, but here we're focusing just on Work TRC, is Annex number 1, załącznik numer 1. This is a document that your employer will need to fill out for you and sign it on the last page. This document specifies what kind of job you have, what is the company, what are the company's registration numbers, what do you do for work, what are your obligations, how much you're making, and also for how long your employer plans to entrust work to you. How can you get 3 years TRC? It's best if the employer writes above 3 years, because this value, the dates that you see on your Annex 1, the last date will indicate until what time your TRC will be valid. So now it's 2025. So it would be best if your employer can write 2029 in your Annex 1. That will give you highest chances on actually having 3 years TRC. And now we're moving on to material requirements, which are documents that you need to submit in order to get positive decision. And over here, it is a bit funny. Every city has different rules and regulations about what you actually need to submit. I will give you the list, which is very broad, and after you get those documents, it might be that in the city where you will apply, for example, if you apply in Poznań, the list will be completely different from Warsaw. In Poznań, you need only a couple documents. In Warsaw, you need a lot. So this list will include them all. If you bring everything to certain immigration offices, they will give you back some of those documents because they are simply unnecessary for their process. Also for you, if you want to handle this process by yourself, it's better to be safe than sorry. So if you're planning to apply for TRC yourself, it's better to get too many documents than too little. Too little documents can cause a rejection, and we don't want that. What documents will that be? Okay, let's start from the top. Your work-related documents. Your work contract. It can be umowa o pracę, zlecenie, dzieło, anything. It doesn't matter. As long as it's a valid employment agreement. Yes, I know that contract of mandate, umowa zlecenie, is not exactly work contract, and that's a little bit of a labor law issue. However, the contract based on which you work for your employer. You need to have that. Also, as you are working in Poland, that means you have to have permission for that work. Work permit. Some of you might not have work permit. You might have, for example, a diploma from Polish university. So you need to bring your work permit or diploma from Polish university, from a Polish above middle school degree. So if you passed a post-secondary school, for now it's also okay to use that. Health insurance. Most of you pay health insurance in your taxes. ZUS is technically speaking not a tax but a contribution, but you know it's a tax. So you need to take ZUS ZUA, ZUA. You can have the spelling on the screen right now. This is a proof that you were registered to ZUS by your employer. Additionally, you should bring last 3 months of ZUS RCA. Again, the name is on the screen. This is monthly statement from ZUS that everything was covered for you. If not that, or in certain contracts, because if you work on umowa o dzieło, there is no possibility to have ZUS insurance through that contract. So you would need to submit private insurance policy, which will also be okay. It might be that you're working, for example, in a regulated profession. What that regulated profession could be, for example, you're a doctor. So there are also many others, like a driver of truck drivers, for example. If you're working in an regulated profession, that means that you have to have those qualifications. And maybe you needed some certificate, maybe some diploma. You need to simply submit those confirmations as well, that you actually can legally do your job. So if that fits to you, if your profession is regulated, yes, bring your certificates about that. Generally, by law, it's not necessary to submit your proof of accommodation to Work TRC. However, sometimes the offices would require you to bring such documents. If you're actually living under the address that you're living in, and I believe that you do, then you can submit your rental contract. It seriously won't hurt you. Just make a copy beforehand, show the original in the immigration office, give them the copy, no problem. You will have that done. Just, again, to be safe. You don't want to be having any problems, and you don't want most commonly that request for documents, they would prolong the process, and you don't really want to have that, right? So if you can bring it, it's not a problem, then just give this to them. You might also need to show that your employer is a real company which makes real money and can really afford to pay you. How could you prove that? You might ask your employer for providing, firstly, written statements about the fact that they swear that they are definitely a real business, they definitely operate completely legally, and they definitely have income streams that bring them enough cash to pay you. Additionally, you can provide some of the notarized copies of their contracts. You could provide, for example, CIT-8, which is their tax return, or if your company is a solo trading business, then the PIT tax statement of your employer. Those kind of documents can prove that your employer is actually able to afford you and that they actually need workers and operate as an actual business in Poland. For the most part, won't be necessary, but sometimes it is, so I'm mentioning it. You might have a problem with your employer giving you the CIT-8 though. Last but not least, because it's extremely important documents, at least in Warsaw, where we are based, statement of no tax arrears and your last year tax statement. It can happen that your employer is not paying your taxes. I mean, your taxes, their taxes, whichever taxes your employer wouldn't be covering, that is a problem. You need to have all your taxes in order, the same as you need to have all your ZUS in order, the health insurance contributions. Lack of that or mistakes in there, they can cause rejection, which is a not pleasant experience. Let's agree on that. So, you also need to show to the immigration office your statement of taxes for the last year, PIT 37. Your employer has given you, around February every year, PIT 11. You did something with the PIT 11, right? You submitted the data from PIT 11 into PIT 37, which you submitted by the end of April. PIT 37 with UPO is a proof of your income for the past year, as well as proof that everything in your taxes was paid. Additionally to that, certificate of no tax arrears, and there is a better way to get it than the regular route, a bit old school route. If you create yourself profil zaufany, trusted profile, we'll make a video about trusted profile and opening it as well. But if you make yourself trusted profile, you can get both PIT 37 with the UPO and certificate of no tax arrears, which states that you don't owe any taxes, which includes tickets, which is actually one of the biggest reasons why this document is so important, because your taxes is not only the PIT. There is way more to that. As a tax issue, if you crossed on a red light and didn't pay that, that's a tax issue as well. You need to cover all of those things before you go on and apply for your TRC. So the statement of no tax errors, you can get it for free if you log into e-tax office using the trusted profile. We'll make a video on that. If you subscribe to our channel, you will see that for sure. If you bring all of the documents that I just told you, plus there is a list to a Google document to which you can click and see whether your immigration office requires any additional statements. Not documents, but statements. Mostly something to just fill out and sign, or cross out, whichever option, and sign it. This way you can go to the Google Doc, check if there is something in your city mentioned, download it, fill it out, and attach to your application as well. The full list is obviously also in the description in the same file. If you feel like you need some additional clarifications, or you want to get TRC for 3 years with us, like him, or him, there is a link in the description of this video where you can schedule a consultation with us and talk how can we help you.